check this. Okay, so hello, good afternoon. Welcome back and welcome to Dr. Dinesh Pharma. So as we are continuing this series as with many requests from so many viewers and aspirants, we are we are continuing the series of this medical devices. So UPSC CDSCO Drugs Inspector Medical Devices Notification Coaching, Notification Training in the YouTube sessions. Okay, the insights, the topic-wise insights. We are dealing with the topic-wise insights of MDR 2017 for a 50-day plan. And so, welcome back to day 4 of the topic-wise insights of MDR 2017. Okay, so as with the previous sessions, we want to go forward with the further sessions. Okay, so please watching continuously. So please subscribe our channel and please watching continuously. Please watching our channel continuously for the regular daily live. Okay, so we already announced that we are going live at 3 p.m. daily. Okay, so get back. Let's start with the session today. And as with the previous session, we have we are dealing with chapter 1. So we have discussed in our earlier sessions, we have discussed that there are totally, this MDR 2017 is divided into 12 chapters with 97 rules. These 97 rules fit into these 12 chapters. And out of that, we are dealing with chapter 1, the insights. Okay, the insights of chapter 1. And we have gone through all the things prior to this, and coming to rule 3S. 3S today. 3S is nothing but the ethics committee. Okay, so what is ethics committee? What does the ethics committee refer to according to MDR 2007? So see, there are lots of examples for ethics committees. There are different types of ethics committees like animal ethics committees and human ethics committee. Like this, there will be many sort of ethics committees. But what is an ethics committee according to MDR 2017 is rule 3S. Okay, it is nothing but that committee that is referred to by in rule 50. Okay, the ethics committee that is referred to in the rule 50 is termed as ethics committee according to rule 3S. Okay, so what does the ethics committee in rule 50 exactly mean? The ethics committee according to rule 50, what exactly it means is nothing but the ethics committee. Nothing but the ethics committee according to D&C Act. The ethics committee according to the D&C Act. Which rule of D&C Act? This is very important. The ethics committee in rule 50 here, 3S. The ethics committee of rule 3S of MDR 2017 is equivalent to the ethics committee of the D&C Act 122 DT. The ethics committee according to the D&C Act rule 122 DT. Okay, so this is about the ethics committee. This is nothing but the ethics committee mentioned here in rule 3S. Okay, moving forward to rule 3T. Very important, again very important. Rule 3T is nothing but it deals about the forms. Okay, we all know, we discussed in our previous sessions about the forms. In the introduction sessions, we have discussed about the forms. That MDR 2017 covers how many forms? So it can be interactive. Again, let it be interactive. Okay, so you can pose any questions. Any interaction is welcome here. Okay, so how many forms are given according to the MDR 2017? Okay, MDR 2017 specifies in the appendix of MDR 2017, totally 40 forms are specified. Okay, there are 40 forms according to MDR 2017. Okay, these forms again we will deal with. We'll take special sessions for these forms. Okay, we will go with special sessions for these forms because these are also very important. All the 40 forms. Out of all the 40 forms, we will go through in our further sessions, which are very important, very crucial, and how to remember certain forms and all. Okay, how to make a note of the respective forms. Okay, for example, we will go with this short number of forms here. some few forms here I have mentioned that MD1 and 2. MD1 and 2 are about the registration to a notified body. Very important. MD. So all the forms are mentioned as MD. Okay, like medical device form, MD1 and MD2 kind. Okay, this MD1 and 2 are related to the registration to the notified bodies, whereas MD1 is about the application for registration and 2 is the license for registration. One will deal with the application for registration to the notified body and 2 is about the license, grant of license. Okay, kind of the grant of license, provision of license, that is certificate of registration to the notified body. So in the same way we have so many forms, like we all have 40 forms we have discussed also and rule form 3-5. Okay, 3-5 are related to the risk classification system again. Okay, 3, 5, 7 and 9. You please remember here please remember the forms numbers 3, 5, 7 and 9. All these 4 forms 3, 5, 7, 9, they are related again to the risk classification system, which we frequently come across in this MDR 2017. Everywhere in MDR 2017, we usually discuss about this risk classification system and what is risk classification system, how is it classified and all. Okay, in our upcoming sessions, we will discuss that in detail about the risk classification system. Also, it forms a very crucial role of MDR 2017. Okay, so these are about the risk classification system. And one more important forms, again we also have some other important forms. 14 and 15 are about the import licenses, and also form 13. Form 13 is also the import license, but import license for clinical investigations. Import license for clinical investigation, whereas 14 and 15 is the application of import license and the grant of import license once again. And also forms 20 and 21, very important. Forms 20 and 21, it is the application not by a particular manufacturer, because it is very important we are speaking, because it is not by a particular manufacturer. This is the application to the import. This is regarding the import of small quantities of medical devices. This deals with the these forms 20 and 21, both 20 and 21 deal with the import of medical devices. Import of medical devices for personal use. Small quantity of medical devices for personal use. Okay, small quantity not by the manufacturer. Small quantity for personal use is considered under 20 and 21. Very important competitive examination point of view. I hope there would be a question, a query from this part in the examination, I suppose. Okay, moving forward to 3U, it is nothing but the good clinical practices guidelines. Okay, GCP guidelines. So we all are very relevant. This is a very relevant thing. GCP guidelines is very relevant to all of you, all of us, because it is this GCP guidelines as issued by the CDSCO. GCP guidelines as given by the Central Drug Standard Control Organization. So what does GCP guidelines deal with? Good clinical practices guidelines. Okay, they deal with all the clinical practices, like what is the basis for the clinical trial of a medical device, and what all the clinical trials and investigations include, and how it should be performed. All this procedure, all this protocol is involved in the GCP guidelines. Okay, all these are included in the GCP guidelines. We all know. Okay, once we can go through the GCP guidelines also, it forms a major topic actually again. Okay, I am not discussing in detail about the GCP guidelines because it forms a very major topic once again. Okay, but GCP guidelines, under which rule does GCP guidelines fall? Under which rule of MDR 2017 does GCP guidelines fall? It is nothing but 3U. Okay, and moving forward to 3V is the intended use. Again, very important. Intended use is a very important term. Whether it comes to a drug or a medical device or anything which is related to a pharmaceutical, intended use of the pharmaceutical is a very primary and crucial parameter. Okay, so this intended use, what is meant by the intended use actually? What is intended use? Okay, so intended use, it is different from the indicated use. Intended use is different from the indicated use. So a particular, any medical device, if we are considering, so to go into the details of the intended use is something which is the use for which the medical device is intended according to the data supplied by the manufacturer. Okay, so this intended use, who decides the intended use? Who decides the intended use of the medical device? It is decided or it is certified or notified by the manufacturer. This intended use is notified by the manufacturer. Okay, it is not, it does not necessarily mean that this device does not perform other actions. Okay, this device may have other actions or may have other activities also, but at this particular point, as mentioned and as labeled by the manufacturer, it should perform only that use. Okay, it may have other applications also, but what the manufacturer is deeming there, the manufacturer is deeming that this, to my, according to his limitations and his limits, or the limitations and the range of the manufacturer, that manufacturer is deeming or claiming some use to that particular device. Okay, so that is nothing but the intended use. Okay, to what purpose? What is the purpose? It is meant to perform. The purpose it is meant to perform, or the duty it is meant to perform as given by the manufacturer or the label, not according to its general tendency. It is nowhere related to its general use and general tendency. Please remember, the general uses or the indicated uses and the intended uses are definitely different. Okay, and for this intended use, yes, definitely this intended use is given by the manufacturer, is provided by the manufacturer with in a part of in a document, as a document or as a manual or something. Okay, usually this intended use is mentioned as a label or as a manual along with the, as a document, along with a medical device which is approved by that of the central licensing authority. Okay, so here we can see the differences between indicated use and the intended use. Okay, indicated use, what does it mention? It mentions the conditions or specifications where a product is effective. Okay, just now I was discussing. So a product may have multiple applications. Any particular medical device or whatever it is, according to the concept here, the context here, a medical device may have multiple applications. It may have several conditions or situations in which it is effective. But at this particular instance, what is the manufacturer claiming? Which use is the manufacturer claiming is its intended use? Okay, according to its definition or the regulatory emphasis, whatever. What is the necessity for this intended use? For the clarity, for the purpose of clarity, to maintain or to follow in agreement or follow in consensus with the regulations, Okay, so otherwise the device may be misused. Otherwise, if this intended use is not properly, if the rules does not include this intended use, there is every chance that the device may be misused. Okay, that is the major difference between a indicated and the intended use of a medical device. And it falls under 3V. 3V will be the intended use of a medical device. Okay, and one of the most important parts of MDR 2017, again, one of the most important parameters of 2017 MDR 2017 is the invasive device. Okay, 3W is nothing but the rule. 3W deals with that of the invasive device. What exactly is an invasive device? We have also gone through in our previous videos also. It was given. You, if whoever haven't gone through, yes, please go through our previous videos also, where we mentioned about this, where I mentioned about this invasive device also. Okay, so what exactly is an invasive device? Invasive device, the word itself indicates invasive. Invasive means something there is a pricking or invasion, but it necessarily does not mean it necessarily does not mean that this one does not necessarily mean it has to pierce. It does not mean that it is pierce. Invasive, in other terms, in general terms, whenever we are calling something invasive, we call it something which pierces. No, not all which pierces or which does not pierce. It is not about the piercing here. Here piercing does not really matter. But according to MDR 2017 invasive device, what matters is which penetrates, okay, which in part or whole penetrates or is administered through the body orifice or the body surface that is known as an invasive device. Whether it is piercing the body or it is not piercing the body is not a matter. Usually the usual concern for invasive device, whenever we come across anything like an invasion, we come across something piercing or pricking or something like that. But here the definition is completely different. Okay, whether it is penetrating or whether it is used, administered in part of it or whole of it is administered through a body orifice or through the body surface is known as a invasive device. So what is a body orifice? Also we have discussed in our previous class, okay, in detail about the body orifice, what are the various types of body orifices and all also was mentioned, okay, in 3G. Okay. Yeah, so this is about an invasive device. So what all are considered as an invasive devices? As invasive devices, yes. These can all be considered as invasive devices. Okay, like catheters. There are several invasive. What all can be considered as invasive devices? We can consider catheters. Okay, we can consider the venous catheters. Okay, venous catheters like a central venous catheter or a peripheral venous catheter, and also the tracheal tubes, the respiratory devices like the tracheal tubes, and also the replacements. Okay, and also the GI tubes, whatever we use for feeding. Okay, sometimes the feeding tubes, GI tubes, gastrectomy tubes are nothing but the feeding tubes which are inserted into through the mouth or through the GIT, to any part of the GIT to feed. In order to feed, when the patient is unable or when a person is unable to take the food, the feeding tubes are used. Those feeding tubes also they come under the invasive devices because they are using the body orifice. They are using the medium of body orifice. Okay, and also this certain orthopedic implants, these processes like the orthopedic implants and the intraocular lens and the ocular lens. Yes, sometimes ocular lens and pacemakers. Yes, ocular lens because they are using the body surface. Ocular lens because they are using eye. Eye is also one of the body orifice. They are using the surface of eye. So definitely they can be considered as, lens can be also be considered as. So whenever there is a question like intraocular lens, whether it is an invasive device or not, yes, it can be considered as an invasive device, definitely, because it is using eye as a medium. Okay, the questions are, so because we are discussing all these so detailed because the questions may appear in such way. Okay, these catheters, cardiovascular stents, all these they come under the invasive devices. And what are the non-invasive devices? These things like diagnostic test strips, glucose monitoring strips, and the wearables. So there are a lot of wearable bioelectronics. Okay, wearable glucose monitoring patches, wearable patches and all, because they are not using the body orifice, which do not use the body orifice. And also the soft contact lens which are using tears. The soft contact lens, they are using tears. They are not using the direct eyeball. They are using the tears. They are moderated by means of tears. Okay, and all these things are. And also saliva glucose monitoring strips. Yeah, just now as mentioned here, saliva is not a body orifice. It comes from the body orifice, but it is not a body orifice. So the glucose monitoring, saliva monitoring strips, all these things they can be considered as non-invasive medical devices. Again. Okay. And we move forward to 3X is nothing but the investigational medical device. 3X is the investigational medical device. What exactly is an investigational medical device? Okay, there are certain clauses to the investigational medical device. Investigational medical device, what it is? Any new medical device, most probably any new medical device on which the clinical investigations are to be done. Okay, any new medical device or a medical device which has been modified in such a way that it has to again undergo it is similar to that of a IND. Investigational medical device, it is similar to that of an IND. What is an IND? Investigational new drug. Okay, it is very similar to that of an investigational new drug. Investigational medical device is very much similar to that. Okay, it is but in vitro diagnostic medical devices are not included, which does not include this IND, this investigational medical device, IMD, investigational medical devices. It does not include a in vitro diagnostic medical device, which is not an in vitro diagnostic medical device. And also, very importantly, when a medical device can be considered as an IMD, when it falls under 3X is when it does not have a predicate device. When it does not have a predicate device. What is a predicate device? Yes, keep watching. We will see what is a predicate device in this session itself in the upcoming minutes. Okay, so we will see the predicate device with respect to that particular term, which do not have a predicate device, when there is no predicate device is applicable to a medical device. Yes, keep watching. We will see what a predicate device means. It is also very important. A predicate device is important even, and any device which is licensed under the sub-rule 4 or sub-rule 6 of rule 20 or rule 25, whatever it is, which claims, okay, so what is the claim here? Whatever may be the rule here, what is the claim which claims for the new intended use? Just now we have discussed when we can call it an investigational medical device, when it is an absolutely new device. Okay, an investigational medical device is nothing but when it is an absolutely new device, okay, or when it do not have a predicate device, when it is not indicated by a predicated device, or when it claims for a new type, new use. Already it is existing, or it is licensed, or it is existing in the market, it is already licensed, but it has a new intention of use, or it is used in a new population, or a new material, or a design. There is a new design for this. The design has changed for this device also, even then, and it is being assessed, even then it can be considered under investigational medical device, not only new devices. That is what here the concept is. Not only new medical devices, investigational medical device not necessarily mean that it is a new device, but it may be a new device or which do not have a predicate device, or which it is an already licensed or existing device but with a new use, new intended use, or of a new material, or improvised in a new population. Okay, that is an investigational medical device. Yeah. Yes, and coming to 3Y. 3Y is about the license. Okay, we are discussing MDR 2017, and the most important part is the license. Yes, right? License should be important. Okay, so what is license? So everything belonging to in MDR 2017 or whatever it may be, whatever may be the law, whatever may be the jurisprudence, or whatever may be the kind of jurisdiction, what is important here is the license, right? So what are we doing here? License is very, very important. What do you mean by a license? Okay, a license, any license that is granted by whom? By the licensing authority. It may be a state licensing authority or a central licensing authority. Okay, so where state licensing authority functions and where central licensing authority functions. Okay, not every license is given by a state licensing authority, and not every license is related to a central licensing authority. So what licenses are related to central licensing authority and what are related to the state licensing authorities? Yes, we will see in the upcoming sessions. Even that forms a very important part. Definitely we will discuss in the upcoming sessions. It is very, very important. Okay, what are the licenses that are granted by the Central Licensing Authority and State Licensing Authority respectively? We will go through in the upcoming sessions. Please keep watching. Okay. So, as mentioned in form MD 5, 6, 9. So just now we have discussed about forms 3, 5, 7 and 9. 3, 5, 7 and 9 which are related to the risk classification system. Okay, which are related to the risk classification system, and form 6. Okay, form 10 and form 15. Form 15 is about the import. Just now we have discussed. It is about the grant of import license. Okay, 14 is application of import license and 15 is the grant of import license, and form 17, 19. So whatever it might be. So out of all these forms which are taken care by the State Licensing Authority and which are taken care by the Central Licensing Authority, we will deal all these in chapter number 3 in the upcoming videos, in our upcoming sessions in chapter number 3. Please do not miss. Okay, so that was about the license, and the license, whenever the term license comes, it is under 3Y of MDR 2017. License is something which is scheduled under 3Y of MDR 2017. Okay. Yeah, coming to 3Z. 3Z is the loan license. 3Z is the loan license. Okay, very important once again, as the license is important and equally the loan license is also equally important. What is a loan license? Okay, loan license is some license. It is also a kind of license which is issued for manufacturing a medical device. Okay, loan license which is something which is issued or granted for the manufacture of a medical device by the SLA or CLA again. By the SLA or CLA again. It may be by SLA or by CLA according to the form in which it is prescribed. Okay, this depends. Who is granting the license? Whether CLA is granting the license or referring to the license, or this license referred to a CLA or SLA is again dependent on the type of forms. Is again dependent upon the risk management system. Again dependent upon the forms. Okay. Yes, we will go through all those. Okay. To a person, loan license, this is not a manufacturing license, yes. Loan license is to manufacture, but it is not a manufacturing license. What is it? It is to manufacture, but is not a manufacturing license. What nonsense is this? It's a kind of nonsense actually. Okay, loan license and manufacturing license are different. This loan license is also given for the manufacture of a medical device, but to whom? To a person who is utilizing the manufacturing site of the licensee. Okay, who is utilizing that manufacturing site. Actually, this particular manufacturing site belongs to some other licensee, a manufacturing site. This belongs to some other licensee, and now some other person wants to use that manufacturing site, that site for the manufacturing of a medical device. Then that kind of license is known as a loan license. Okay, that kind of license is known as a loan license. Okay, so to utilize the manufacturing site of other licensee. Okay, or to manufacture the same medical device manufactured by the licensee. Okay, it is a kind of generic. Okay, right? To manufacture the same medical device as manufactured by the licensee. A particular medical device was licensed by some other manufacturer, and some other person is applying or is taking a loan license to manufacture the same kind of medical device as that of that manufacturer. Okay, in that case, this license can be termed as a loan license. In these cases, it can be termed as a loan license. Okay, so we have reached the end of rules. Have we? We have reached the end of chapter 3. Have we reached the end of chapter 3? No, because this rule 3Z, again it deals with so many subclauses. It has so many subclauses which consist of very important terminology with respect to MDR 2017. The most probables, yes, we will go through them at a quick pace. We'll go through a quick glance. Yes, quick glance. Okay, the long-term use. ZA, rule 3, ZA is nothing but about the long-term use. What is the long-term use? The intended continuous use of a medical device for more than 30 days. When a particular medical device is intended or it is intended to continuously use for more than 30 days, then that can be considered as a long-term use medical device. Okay, that medical device can be termed as a long-term use medical device. So what can be examples of long-term medical use? Long-term use medical devices, what can be the examples? Yes, stents. Yes, of course, the stents. Okay, these stents, they are not removed later. Like once they are administered, they are not usually removed later, and they can be used for a longer period of time, sometimes permanently inserted, sometimes permanently used also. Long-term use, when it is more than 30 days, any device which is used greater than for more than 30 days of time is considered as a long-term use medical device. Examples will be the stents, the replacements, yes, the hip and the bone replacements, okay, sometimes the catheters, sometimes the central venous catheters, sometimes they are used for a prolonged period of, even if it is more than 30 days, 31 day, also it is a long-term medical use, right? Okay, and also this blood sugar apparatus. Okay, we don't use it for a single time use, this blood sugar apparatus and all, blood sugar testing apparatus and all, these kits, we are not using it for a single day. Okay, all these things, they come under the long-term use medical devices. Okay, please make a note, please remember. Okay, so here I may not mention each and every example, but I am trying to explain what it is about. Okay, so sometimes when sometimes in the examination a question appears from this kind of area, okay, definitely we can go through our think. Okay, we can give time to think, like what it is coming, than knowing nothing, right? Okay, and ZB is the medical device, very important part. Okay, what does a medical device deem to be? What exactly is a medical device? Okay, we have studied in our first class regarding this. In the first session itself, we have discussed about this. What is a medical device? Any substance that can be used in. So all these are covered under Rule 2 of Chapter 1. Okay, all these substances are covered under Rule 2, Chapter 1 of MDR 2017. All the substances included like the substances used for in vitro diagnostic surgical supplies, the blood collection component collection equipment as considered under the subclause 1 of Rule 2 again. Okay, here it is mentioned as subclause 1 of Rule 2 again. Okay, and also there are some other substances like the mechanical contraceptives other than medication. Okay, mechanical contraceptives which do not use a medicated, not medicated devices, non-medicated mechanical contraceptives, and also the disinfectants and insecticides, the classification of which we have already gone through, and also which are notified in the official gazette. Okay, under subclause 2 of 2. 2 of 2. What is 2 of 2? Subclause 2 of Rule 2, MDR 2017. Okay, and all the devices that are notified in subclause 3 of Rule 2. Okay, so whatever the substances are used for in vitro diagnosis can be considered as in vitro diagnostic medical devices. Okay, and one more, the most important element again. Okay, again the most important element, the medical device grouping. Again, the very important element, again the medical device grouping. So what is medical device grouping? 3ZC. 3ZC is medical device grouping. What is medical device grouping? What is the grouping of medical devices? Does it necessarily mean that medical device grouping? So whenever we come across the term grouping, we usually have an assumption. Okay, we have an assumption that, so grouping means the devices that function, that have a common function, can be grouped under all the devices that have a common function. For example, all the diagnostics. Okay, all the diagnostics, they can be grouped under a common group. Is it so? No, not really, not necessarily. There are many criteria, there are so many criteria for categorizing or grouping the medical devices. What are they? We will just go through. Okay, medical device grouping is nothing but the devices having same or similar intended use or a common technology or so and so. It not necessarily they reflect a specific characteristic. Okay, it does not necessarily reflect a specific characteristic. Okay, so we will see what are the various groups of medical devices. Yes, so medical devices are grouped according to this classification system. This is the grouping system. Okay, there is a different grouping system for medical devices. So a medical device can be considered as single. Any medical device can be considered, it can be grouped under single. It can be grouped under single. What is grouped under single? Grouped under the category of single kind of group, single classification. Okay, it can be considered single when it is not fit into any other grouping category. A device when it is not deemed to fit into any other grouping category. Okay, and each of them, they require their own documentation. Okay, each of the device, it requires its own documentation. It does not fall into any particular category. It is considered as a single medical device. It is considered as a single medical device. Okay, so the family of medical devices, the grouping system shows the family of medical devices. The family of medical devices. So medical device family, what does it indicate? What does this necessarily indicate? It indicates the devices from the same manufacturer, okay, or the license holder. It indicates the group like family. Grouping of medical devices into family, what does it indicate? It indicates that all the devices are from the same family. Same family means the same family of the same license holder. The same license holder is manufacturing all these devices, and they have certain common intended use or common risk of classification and some similar design or a manufacturing process, whatever it is, anything of this, any of these or all of these. Okay, they may have a common intended use, common manufacturing procedure, common design, okay, or a common risk classification. They all come under a common, they all fall under a common risk classification, but which are from the same license holder. They come under a family. Okay, a medical device can be grouped under a family when it comes under when it is manufactured or sold or imported, whatever it is, when it is from the same license holder. Okay, so this grouping is done because for the entire family of these devices can have a single fee. Okay, the entire family of these devices has a common fee. A single fee can be paid for our entire family of devices, and also the system same. Again, from the same license holder, combination of medical devices from the same license holder for a common purpose. It may not be for a common intended use or a risk classification, whatever, but it is used for a common purpose. It is used for a common purpose. Then that can be classified as a system. Okay, classified into a system, but it has separate fee and documentation. Separate. So when it is under a family, when the grouping is about a family, then that is same fee. Then they all fall under same fee category. When the grouping is based on the system, then they fall under the separate fee category. Separate fee and separate documentation. Okay, and group. What is a group? Okay, so two or more devices, especially this comes, and this is about the IV kits. This deals with, this group comes with that of the IV kits or the diagnostic test kits or so. Okay, when two or more devices are sold together in a single package, they may necessarily be from a single license holder or not, but they are sold together under a single package for a common purpose. That is what. Especially these diagnostic test kits and the IV kits, all these fall under this category of group. Okay, so single, the fee is single but documentation is different. Here the fee will be single and the documentation will be different. So this is about the medical device grouping actually. Okay, this is about the medical device grouping. How they can be sorted into groups, or how they can be, what are the parameters on the basis of which these medical devices can be grouped. Okay. Okay, and the next is about the medical device officer. Okay, next is about the medical device officer. ZD is a medical device officer. So who is called as a medical device officer? Any officer appointed or designated by the central or state government. So till here it is okay. Okay, any officer, medical device officer, any officer appointed or designated by the central or state government under sub-rule 2 of rule 18. Under sub-rule 2 of rule 18 again. Okay. So what is the sub-rule 2 under rule 18? Okay. So who may be this medical device officer? So who exactly may be the medical device officer? Okay, as appointed according to the sub-rule 2 of rule 18, this medical device officer can be any drugs inspector. This medical device officer can be any of the drugs inspector. He can be any of the drugs inspector and can be appointed or can be designated, any drugs inspector designated by either by the central government or by the state government. Either by the central government or by the state government. Any drugs inspector appointed either by the central government or state government according to section 21 of D&C Act. According to section 21 of D&C Act. So this particular person, this particular officer is considered as a medical device officer. So who is a medical device officer? Any officer that is like, who is a drugs inspector as appointed by the central or state government, central government or a state government under section 21 of the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940. Yeah. And medical device testing laboratory, this we have discussed earlier also. What is a medical device testing laboratory? Any institute or organization who is registered under sub-rule 3 of 83. So for testing laboratories, for carrying out, what does this medical device testing laboratory do? For carrying out the testing and evaluation of any medical device. Okay, for the testing or evaluation of any medical device as given by the license of the manufacturer. Okay, so whenever a manufacturer applies for a license, to a medical device, yes, definitely, then the organizations or the central licensing authority will take up this investigation or testing of this medical device, whether it is safe to use, its performance and effectiveness and everything is in compliance with the claims or not. Okay, to perform all this, wherever this is performed is nothing but the MDTLs we have discussed in central licensing authorities or central testing laboratories, like MDTL, medical device testing laboratories. Okay, and medical device testing officer. Okay, just now we have gone through ZD is medical device officer and ZF is medical device testing officer. So what is the exact difference? Who is a medical device officer and who is a medical device testing officer? Okay, we will go through. Yes, is there any difference or not? Definitely there is a difference, right? Because they fall under two subclauses. Definitely there is a slight difference. What is it? These kind of questions are very important. These kind of manifestations and the parameters are exactly very important again. Okay. So, medical device testing officer. Who is the medical device testing officer? Any officer appointed again or designated by the central government under the sub-rule 1 of Rule 18. Okay, please remember, medical device officer is anyone appointed by the, can be appointed by the central government or state government. Central government or state government. That means as claimed under, as designated under sub-rule 2 of 18. Okay, but medical device testing officer has to be appointed only by the central government. Is anyone who is appointed only by the central government. And who falls into this category? Any government analyst. So here it is not the drugs inspector, as we have discussed earlier. With that of ZD, it is any drugs inspector. Okay, but here in medical device testing officer, it is any government analyst who is appointed or designated by the, only by the central government, not by the state government, only by central government, according to section 20 of D&C Act. According to section 20 of D&C Act. Okay, so this is the difference between a medical device officer and medical device testing officer. Okay, so these form the basis for many questions. Please remember, all of you. Don't overlook. Do not overlook. Yes, we may go wrong in these kind of issues mostly. Yeah, neo-patient testing, very important again. Neo-patient, what is neo-patient testing? Any investigation carried out in a clinical setting or at a patient's home. Okay, usually home testing or at a nearby clinical setup. Okay, where, so it is not about near and far. Near patient testing is not about they are beside the home or somewhere away from the home. It is not about that. Near patient testing, in near patient testing, what is important is the result is available. Okay, the result is available without a reference to a laboratory. Okay, this result need not be certified by a particular laboratory. That is known as near patient testing. The testing procedure which is performed at a clinical setting or at a patient's home or whatever it might be, but where the result does not necessarily require clinical correlation. Okay, where the result is not dependent upon the reference laboratory is known as the near patient testing. To give the immediate patient management. This is for immediate management. Okay. So what all come under this near patient testing? Yes, pregnancy test. Okay, for pregnancy test, the testing is performed at a clinical setting or at a patient home. It does not necessarily relate to a laboratory testing. Okay, it need not necessarily go to a laboratory, need not be correlated with that of a laboratory, right? Can be done in vitro and then and there. The result is obtained then and there, near the patient itself, without any correlation. Okay, pregnancy test and this glucometer testing, SARS-CoV test. Okay, SARS-CoV test and continuous glucose monitoring, regular glucose monitoring. So, in regular glucose monitoring, no one will go after every glucose monitoring. No one will go to the laboratory to get it tested. Okay, instantly, then and there we get the result. That is the near patient testing, concept of near patient testing. Okay. So, new in vitro diagnostic medical device. Okay, new in vitro diagnostic medical device. What is it? Okay, so new in vitro diagnostic medical device. So, which has not been approved. This is nothing but which has not been approved for manufacture or sale earlier. So, something which is really new, a diagnostic medical device which is really new, not improvised or not change of intended use or not change of application, which is really new. Okay, and it is not licensed by the central licensing authority, only the diagnostic medical device, in vitro diagnostic medical device, not every medical device. This falls under this category. ZH is about the new in vitro diagnostic medical device. Okay, notified. What is notified? Means it is notified in the official gazette by the central government. It is this notified. It usually refers to the notified bodies. It usually refers to the notified bodies, which we will deal further later. And notified means some notified component. Okay, any person or any component. Okay, and next is the notified body. ZJ is the notified body. Who is considered as a notified body? Who is considered as a notified body? Yes, anything like a central licensing authority or a state licensing authority, which is any legal entity or a corporate body who can carry out the audit. Who can carry out the audit of this manufacturing site, assessment and all these things. Who does this are considered as notified bodies, which we can go through in chapter 3 of MDR 2017. All these notified bodies are covered under, are further in detail covered under chapter 3 of MDR 2017. Okay, chapter 3 rule 13 of MDR 2017. Next, performance evaluation. Yes, even we have gone through this performance evaluation for an in vitro medical diagnostic medical device. Performance evaluation is usually performed for, so we have seen even in the case of clinical evidence we have gone through this. Okay, so for an in vitro diagnostic medical device, so whatever the data is obtained from an in vitro diagnostic medical device, the data obtained from a in vitro diagnosis. Okay, the data obtained or the report or the information or data obtained from a diagnostic medical device, it is correlated or it is checked with that of the claims. It is analyzed and correlated with that of the claim of the medical device. Okay, and if it falls within the limits, if the performance and its safety and its analysis, if it falls within the limits, yes, this is said to be its performance evaluation. Okay, and the post-marketing surveillance is very important. Again, post-marketing surveillance. What is post-marketing surveillance? The systematic process to collect data and analyze information from medical device. So already of any post-marketing surveillance, the name itself indicates that the surveillance or the survey, okay, the survey or the study which is conducted on a medical device after it has been released into the market. After it has been successfully released into the market, that is known as the post-marketing surveillance. Okay, so this is about how post-marketing surveillance happens. Okay, so first a proper plan for this post-marketing surveillance is developed, and for this necessary approvals are required, and then go for the post-marketing surveillance into the market, collecting the data, analysis of the data, reporting, and the risk mitigation. So if there are some risks associated with that of this after analysis, after data analysis and reporting, we get a clear cut picture whether if there is any risk in continuing this in the market. So this post-marketing surveillance is usually performed to establish whether the product has to be continued in the market or it can be recalled from the market. Okay, so here again comes the concepts of recall and the continuation of the product into the market. Okay, so that is about the post-marketing surveillance. And here comes our predicate device. Just now what we have discussed earlier, here comes our predicate device. What is a predicate device? Okay, a predicate device, it is nothing but, okay, simply speaking, what is a predicate device? It is nothing but a predicate device is similar to that of an innovator's product as that of a drug. Okay, in drugs as we have the innovator products and the generic products. So this predicate device is nothing but it is very much similar to that of an innovator's product. The device or the medical device which is manufactured for the first time of its kind. Which is manufactured for the first time of its kind. It is first of its kind. And it is approved for the manufacture, sale, import, etc. by the Central Licensing Authority as the Central Licensing Authority, as it is deemed to be. Okay, as it has every property as it is deemed to be. There are no changes how it should be manufactured, and there are no changes in the manufacture or import or any procedures. Okay, that kind of device is known as a predicate device. It is similar to that of an innovator's device. We can simply correlate, no, don't call it as innovator product. You can simply correlate it with that of an innovator product or a branch product. Okay. Innovator product and a generic product. The same is the difference with that of a predicate device. Predicate device is the first of its kind, the device which is first of its kind. Okay, so what class satisfies to be a predicate device? If it is legally marketed, yes, then go with the labeling. Okay, if the predicate device, if it is legally marketed, then go for the labeling and it has the same intent. It should have the same intended use. It should have a proper label. It should have a established design material. Okay, it should have parameters of established design material, energy source, okay, and all the technical characteristics. Then there is no safety and efficacy issues. All these things have to be considered all this has to be considered. Okay, and why is this consideration for this predicate device? Okay, this predicate device, it forms a comparative element to the substantial upcoming devices of the same sort. Okay, predicate device, it forms a substantial comparative element to that of the upcoming devices. So when some other device is manufactured in model, okay, as comparison to that of a predicate device, then what happens? Whenever a new device is manufactured, so then the features of this device has to be compared with that of the predicate device again. Okay, the features has to be compared with that of the predicate device, and if both are comparative in certain parameters, yes, then that device, the new device can be called substantially equivalent to that of the predicate device. Then the new device, which if it follows all these parameters, certain parameters to that of the predicate device, comparative parameters, then that new device can be deemed to be substantially equivalent to that of the predicate device. Okay. So, and the next is again very important, the quality management system. What is quality management? QMS in medical devices. The requirements for manufacturing of medical device as specified in the 5th schedule. So this is the quality management system. What all are included in the QMS? What all are included in the QMS of a medical device? What all are included? The process and the production control. Okay, the products process and the production control, the management, change in the management, and the corrective and preventive actions, there's management responsibility, the resources, yes, very importantly the resources, and the product surveillance, the design control, everything, all these, they form the basis for the QMS, the quality management system as specified under the 5th schedule of MDR 2017. QMS, quality management system, is managed by or falls under which schedule of MDR 2017? It falls under the 5th schedule of MDR 2017, and it includes all these. The risk management and all. Okay. Next, what is the reagent? Yeah, ZO is nothing but the reagent, any chemical, biological or immunological component which is designed by or which is taken up by the manufacturer. Reagent. So, reagents, where are they used usually? Reagents, where do they come under? What do they come under? Usually come under the in vitro diagnostics. They come under the category of in vitro diagnostics, especially these reagents. Okay. So, as deemed by the manufacturer to be used in a in vitro diagnostic medical devices. These reagents, they find the use in, most of the times they find the use in the in vitro diagnostics. They refer to their use in vitro diagnostics. And the recall, okay, just now we have discussed about the recall. Any action taken by the manufacturer or authorized agent or supplier to remove the medical device from the market, okay, because it has certain, because if it is hazardous to health. Okay, recall, when a recall happens, usually not always, usually recall happens after a post-marketing surveillance, not always, please remember. Okay, recall falls under 3ZP, very important. What is a product recall? It has to be recalled from the market once it is marketed and it is removed from the market. Okay, or to remove from any person, to take it back from any person if it is considered hazardous to health, or it fails to confirm any claim, or it does not meet the requirements of the act. Okay, in that conditions usually recall happens. Okay, recall mostly it happens after a after a PMS, that is a post-marketing surveillance. Okay, that is what, these are all correlated, these are all interrelated. Just now we have discussed about that. Okay, and this, what is a serious adverse event? Yes, very, very important. Serious adverse event, any untoward medical occurrence that leads to death or serious deterioration in health of a subject. Okay, serious and adverse event, there are different kinds of adverse events. Okay, adverse drug reactions, adverse reaction, adverse drug reaction, adverse event, serious adverse event, and all this, right? So what can be considered as a serious adverse event? When there is an untoward medical occurrence, when there is a untoward medical occurrence that leads to death or serious deterioration of health of the subject. Okay, which may cause the, because even medical devices, this is also applicable to the medical devices, especially this is applicable to the long-term use medical, not long-term use medical devices, or anything like a pacemakers. Okay, this is more applicable. The serious adverse events are applicable to medical devices, kind of pacemakers and implants, IUDs, etc. These may cause serious adverse events. Okay, these may result in, these type of equipments or medical devices, they may result in serious adverse events. Okay, permanent impairment of body structure or function, whatever it is. Okay, if it happens, then that is considered as a serious adverse event. Okay, and short-term use. What is short-term use? It is opposite to long-term use. ZR is short-term use. The device, medical device which is intended use for not less than 60 minutes. The medical device which is intended to use for a time of not less than 60 minutes, but not less than 60 minutes and not more than 30 days. Okay, if it is more than 30 days, it is a long-term use medical device. Okay, if it falls between 60 minutes and 30 days, then we can consider it as a short-term use medical device. Okay, we can consider it as a short-term use medical device, mostly that of the IV sets. Okay, short-term use medical device. What all come under short-term use medical devices? Like IV sets, blood component collection bags, the surgical supplies, right? The surgical supplies and the blood component collection bags, all these kind of, and certain in vitro diagnostics also, they fall under. Okay, and the IV sets, not the catheters, IV sets. Okay, IV, these tubings and all IV sets, they come under the short-term use medical devices. And the specimen receptacle. What is a specimen receptacle? Yes, which a device where vacuum type or not, it is specifically intended for the primary containment of specimens. Okay, what is a specimen receptacle? It is something like, specimen receptacle is something like whenever we are collecting, it is like tubes. Okay, collection tubes. Wherever we are collecting, so manufacturer, is vacuum type or not, whether it is a type of vacuum or not, intended by the manufacturer for the primary containment of specimens derived from the human or animal body. Okay, whenever any container, any specific container which contains, which is moderated by vacuum or not, specimen receptacle is nothing but for the primary immediate containment of the specimen, like some tissue. Okay, the receptacle which is containing if any body tissue is removed from a human or animal body for a diagnosis or something, the removal of tissues or removal of some other specimen, like any other specimen, the specimen receptacle, like this urine collection containers. Okay, anything such as that of the sample collection containers, some sample collection containers. Okay, they may be called as specimen receptacles, which consist of this some biopsy sample containers or biopsy receptacles, everything, all these, they come under the specimen receptacles. And a sponsor. Who is a sponsor? Who is deemed as a sponsor actually? Yes, who is deemed as a sponsor? Any investigator, a sponsor, it includes any person or an investigator or a company. A sponsor, it may not necessarily be a single person. It may be any person or investigator or a company or an institution, whatever it is. So, who is responsible for the initiation of clinical investigation? Who moderates clinical investigation through a who moderates or who initiates the clinical investigation through what? Who moderate this clinical investigation through a CRO. Okay, who directly do not involve in the clinical investigation. Okay, they just initiate and moderate. They take care. They are responsible for the clinical investigation by means of a CRO. By moderating or by means of a CRO. He is known as the sponsor. Okay, and the state license authority is deemed something under Rule 2 of Rule 8. Okay, the transient use, which means the authority designated, state licensing authority is nothing but which is designated by the state government. Okay, the state licensing authority which is designated by the state government under Rule 2 of Rule 8. Rule 2 of Rule 8 for the transient use. Okay, I just, we were discussing, not every device, okay, not every component or not every device can be licensed by a state licensing authority. There are classifications where state licensing authority functions and where central licensing authority functions. Wherever there is an involvement of a central licensing authority, so only at some places central licensing authority is involved and some places state licensing authority is involved in delivering or distributing a license, a particular license, or in certifying a particular license. Okay. So that is known as the state licensing authority. Usually state licensing authority has powers to license devices which are used continuously for a time of less than 60 minutes only. Okay, and the central licensing authorities and the transmissible agent. Okay, the agent which is capable of being transmitted to a person. Okay, which is used for the classification of an in vitro diagnostic medical device. Sometimes in the in vitro diagnostic medical devices, we are dealing with the agent capable of transmissible agents. Okay, this comes under the classification of diagnostic medical agents. So because diagnostic medical agents are sometimes used, sometimes they may transmit some other infections or communicable diseases to the person. Okay. So yeah. So words and expressions not defined. Yes, they are not defined in the rules. They are just use certain expressions. Okay, as is deemed by the Drugs Cosmetics Act 1940. Okay. So this is about Chapter 1 MDR 2017, Chapter 1 Medical Device Rules 2017. Yes, in brief, right? So we have gone through all the aspects, almost all the aspects of Chapter 1 MDR 2017. Okay, we have covered all the aspects, and okay, and as we have announced earlier, we also are undertaking and we are also running a course for this UPSC, the 50-day crash course for this entire organization. So in this, apart from this medical device rules 2017, we are also like dealing MDR 2017 in detail with interaction sessions, with a test series, with a daily test series and with a mock test series, chapter wise test, topic wise test, everything. Okay, with a test series inclusive. Okay, and also we are with a target 50-day crash course, target 50 plan with all. We are covering, apart from medical devices rules, we are also covering all the aspects of the syllabus which is included in the UPSC Drugs Inspector medical devices. Okay, so please continue your journey with us for you to gain a seat or gain a post, or you to get through the examination. Yes, please continue your journey with us, and whoever wish to take the course with us, complete journey with us, and you wish to take our courses, yes, please do call us on these numbers which are please do call us on these numbers which are displayed, and with these contact numbers are also available in the description box. Okay, you can call us anytime. We are available for the admissions. The batch has already started just 3 days ago, and we are running at a proper pace, going through the discussions. Yes, continuous discussion sessions and continuous with a proper plan. Okay, so if anyone wishes to join with us, yes, please go through our place. You can contact us on this numbers. Okay, and whoever wish to continue your journey with us on the YouTube, yes, you are also more welcome. We will conduct the same in the same way. We are going live daily at 3 p.m. Please join our sessions regularly to get regular topic wise insights of MDR 2017 and UPSC Drugs Inspector Medical Devices coaching. Okay, so for further discussions, we will meet in the next sessions, and before that, please, before leaving the live, please do not forget to like, share. So please do not forget to like, share, subscribe and comment to our sessions. Okay, so stay with us. We will do it together. Thank you all very much for joining this session. Yeah, have a good day.